You're listening to Pro Booth Talk, education and insights for photo booth company owners.
Welcome back to Pro Booth Talk. I'm Jason. With me is Lap.
Hi, guys. Thank you for joining us again.
So, Lap, you just got back from London.
Yes, it was amazing. It was.
Man, I'm so jealous.
I'm gonna be very honest. So I only plan to do a quick stopover at PBX London. My real goal, my real agenda was to go on vacation, and it was just an excuse to go. But it was way more. It was way more amazing than I would have imagined.
Man,
I'm glad that I ended up staying for the whole 2 days.
Oh, that's great. I really wanted to go. I tried to make it work so hard, but Octobers for us are just, I'm surprised you were able to make it work, and I'm so happy that you did, because you definitely deserve that vacation, but
Jason,
I couldn't do it.
So I didn't make the call until like 2:00 that afternoon. My flight took off at 8. So I really was just like on the last string making that decision, because we're really busy in October. I mean, our last podcast, I was, like as soon as I came back, I hit the ground running with events and clients. And, it was the last like 10 days has been nonstop. I was operating on like 2 hours of sleep a night for the last like 10 days. So we were definitely in peak, but I saw the possible value of PBX London, but my plan was, if it doesn't turn out that great, it's okay, I'll make it into a vacation. But it ended up being beyond what I would have imagined. I mean, I know there's that concern. So these are thoughts that had crossed my mind before I went. So PBX London, we know, is nothing in size comparison to Vegas. Like Vegas is like the ultimate, a whole bunch of vendors, a whole bunch of attendees. So I already knew ahead of time that PBX London was going to be substantially smaller scale, which was concerning to me, because it's an investment for me to go over there. But I just found it being smaller to be of benefit to me, because I know I love PBX Vegas. I love it. I love all the people. I love the fact that they bring like all the latest and greatest booth software, but it's a little bit overwhelming.
Yeah, it's a lot overwhelming. It can be.
Yeah,
so it sounds like it was a lot more intimate over there.
It was so much more intimate, Jason. So like, we always bring up the fact that we've been doing this for a long time, right? And we go to PBX year after year. Some people have never been to PBX. It's their first time, or they're considering going for their first time. London I had the ability to meet vendors and really like go in depth with speaking to them about like concerns or questions. And they weren't rushing through to get to like the next. That's nothing to do with the vendors. It's just when you have like hundreds of people standing in line waiting to ask questions, it's hard.
It gets crazy.
Yes. And in London, I didn't have that experience. I mean, I was able to get like one-on-one I was over with Chris and his team over at Booth Book. I've never been able to just stop and talk to them. Not because they're just so busy. It's just, there's just so much going on in Vegas, I got to speak with Tim Carr. He's part of Booth.events. I'm sure you've heard of their software.
Especially right now with
Yes.
they're kicking off some neat AI stuff, so it's kind of a buzz.
Yes. So I've heard about their software, but I was walking around meeting the vendors, and he took some time to show me like the software itself, in the middle of him telling me like, oh, the AI is really slow, it's going to be boom, I get the text message with AI, like almost like mid-sentence of him telling me how slow their internet is. So that was really impressive. And then, I got to see Curator. I was over there talking with
James.
Yeah, James. So I got to meet a lot of vendors that I've never really had the time to like really just sit and have those one-on-ones with. And then like just the networking, because it's a lot smaller, like I know you and me, like every year we see each other in Vegas. It's like, are we gonna have breakfast? Are we gonna have lunch? It's just like a constant like go, go,
Yeah, I have so
go.
many groups of people like pulling me in
Yeah,
different directions.
yes. And it's like I don't know what I'm doing. So in London, because it's so much smaller, it's so much easier to have those moments where you're able to like meet and hang out and just go and explore London together. It's more laid back. So I mean, this year it was me on the fence if I wanted to go, but I got so much value out of it. Next year, I'm super excited. It's going to be in Amsterdam. It's not even a question, Jason, if I'm going because I'm already looking for airfare. Like just the destination is already
Yeah.
amazing, but just seeing how the smaller event was just such a different experience. Surprisingly, it was for me a better experience. It's not even a question that next year I'm going to go.
Well, me neither. I mean, September is a lot easier for me. It's still busy because it's still really awesome weather here in Vegas, but it's nothing like October. I can definitely break
Yeah.
away during November and let my team handle everything. And I'm also I'm not Dutch, but I was born very close to Amsterdam from military parents and stuff like that. So I left when I was like a year old. So I'd love to just go back and just
Go back and
see
visit.
the city where I
Yeah.
was born, just out of curiosity. I've
Yeah,
seen photos and stuff, but
it was a really nice change in climate from Vegas. Like I'm still going to PBX Vegas. I mean, the networking, all the vendors is awesome, but definitely going back to Amsterdam, going back to the
so jealous.
PBX in Europe. Yeah, yeah. Really great experience. Like, exploring the city and it was nice. I mean, on the business side, on the vacation side, it was beneficial on both, because I got to stop in Paris before I came into London. So I explored Paris for 2 or 3 days. That was amazing.
Cool. Yeah, I bet.
Everything is so
I've not
close.
been there.
Everything is so close there. Like a flight or a train, like an hour to 2 hours away. So, like that's how far we travel for lunch out here in LA. So that was like no brainer for me. So Amsterdam's going to be very similar because everything is so close to Amsterdam.
Yeah, we'll have lunch in Amsterdam then.
Yeah, yeah. Or
But
Paris is close by too.
yeah,
Go back to Paris.
yeah, I definitely want to see Paris. I've been to Cannes, but it was not during the film festival. So I guess during the film festival, it's a very happening city, but outside of the festival, it's kind of slow. And it was during a cruise, so I think the only people that were in the city were really like cruisers, just wandering
Oh,
around the streets
yeah.
and stuff. But we had like 11 hours there, and it was for an off season. It was plenty of time to check out the city.
Yeah. Yeah. I explored London in like a day and it was a great experience. I mean, I squeezed it in. It was really tight because like the PBX was 2 days and then immediately after PBX this year, Breeze did a BreezeCon over there and I attended BreezeCon and that was really great too. He went into depth. I mean, Steve Blessner, he's a creative genius. I just can't.
Yeah.
I was like, if I buy the class, do you sell me your brain power too? Because I need that creativity. I mean, like the technical side I can learn, but man, I need your creativity, Steve, because I don't have that.
Yeah, I've actually never met the guy, but that's all I've ever heard about him, and that's what I see when he's on stage and stuff. And the post is certainly just absolute creativeness. Wow.
Yeah, his class, he showcased a lot of different unique ways of incorporating, stuff that we do for basic boosts, but just his twist on it. And what's nice about his convention when you sign up for it is he provides you like with the sample event. So you get those templates, which I love. And then Catalina surprised us all and spoke as well. And she always brings so much knowledge, in terms of like the business side. So that was a nice bonus that wasn't expected. Yeah.
Oh, great. Yeah. Hopefully they do something here in Vegas. I have still yet to really get into Breeze. I do have a lead out right now that if they book will require the power
Breeze.
of Breeze. It'll be beyond SnapPix abilities. So
Yeah.
I may be pushed into it pretty soon, which I mean, that's typically what it takes for me is something forced me into to a product, and then I never turned back. So we'll
Same
see. But
here.
PBX Vegas is right around the corner, of course. So first of all, like, this is not really an endorsement. I guess it is an endorsement, but this isn't paid marketing. This is just our own experiences. Everyone that we talk about, the speakers, if we don't speak about a speaker, it's just because we're not familiar with them. And the speakers that we are speaking, that we do talk about, it's just because we've seen them speak before, and it's our personal recommendation that these are great speakers and stuff like that. So we're not associated with PBX, although sometimes it seems that way because we bring PBX up so often. But I mean, honestly, I know you, pretty much every speaker that we've had on, I know through PBX, or so it's just been such a large part of my business and my success and my networking and my group of friends and stuff, that it's just not possible to have a single episode and not mention PBX, it seems like. So,
but you know what also, Jason, I feel like for companies who are new and upcoming, I have this conversation with them every now and then, like, hey, are you going to go to PBX? And a lot of new owners don't really realize the value of PBX because they're just looking at it in terms of like it being a trade show. But there's so much more behind it. I know PBX helped shape my business, and it was pinnacle in me growing, because when you talk about networking, I can't even stress enough like how much value networking brings, just you being at PBX. If you're not at PBX, whether you are looking for equipment or you're looking for software, just the people that you meet and connect with, they really can transform your business. It's hard when you're new to understand it, because I sure didn't. I'm very thankful. Yeah. Like, I'm very thankful that I'm super social. So for me, it was just, me talking and making a lot of friends, and I didn't think anything of it. But without me attending PBX every single year, and I'm glad the first year someone gave me that push. Sometimes you need someone to push you because it's scary, like my own experience. I was very intimidated, like going to a big old convention. They brag about like, what is it, like 6,000 attendees
it's
or
a
something
lot.
like
It
that?
is
It's a
so
lot.
many, which is
Yeah.
part of like the cool part of it is like anywhere you go, if you sit down at a slot machine or you go to the deli or the restaurant or the cafe or the step up to the bar and look to the guy next to you, likely he has a lanyard on from PBX, or the woman across the bar or sitting at the slot machine down the way, they're going to have a lanyard on from PBX. And
Yeah.
like literally everyone that has a lanyard on is interested in hanging out and chatting. Like, they don't ever feel
Yes.
intimidated. But as far as that networking goes, so I guess I'll start by saying PBX is a lot. So we're going to split this into a few episodes. Last week, it's actually next week for us, but last week for you, we had Rob on to talk about PBX. Next week, we're going to talk exclusively about the after parties and the networking and how to maximize that. And we're going to be talking to a couple speakers, people that will be speaking during the show as well. But today, going to focus on the actual convention, the sessions and the exhibits, and some frequently asked questions, I guess, that we see in the groups and stuff. So let's start with the obvious question that I see constantly. PBX is coming up, and we always see this. I'm thinking about going to PBX. Should I go? I think the answer is obvious from both Lap and I. You definitely should go to PBX.
Oh, yes.
100%. Like, I
And if
can't
you
imagine
go,
someone going to the PBX and regretting going. I just can't imagine what you would regret about it.
yeah. Although I've had some conversations with some people who have attended PBX, and they attended it just as a trade show and they didn't participate in everything else. Do not do that, guys. Like, if you are going to PBX, you should not be in your room more than like
That was my first PBX. and
What happened?
because I'm local, so I just went to the sessions, went to the classes, and went back home because I had kids to drop off at the bus stop, and I had events still going on, and I really, really missed out on that first PBX. And now, again, like, it's hard not to get into networking, and I'm trying not to because we're going to talk about it on the next episode.
Yeah.
But I actually stay at South Point now because I just want to be completely detached from the whole family thing and checking in and checking out every day. Like, I want to just commit my entire weekend to PBX because you just get so much more out of it.
And you're
If you can
everywhere
connect with.
now, Jason. Like
Yeah.
everywhere I turn, it's like there's Jason. Where you're
Yeah.
like everybody's photos and stuff too. So I see the difference.
Yeah. True. So first question, go to PBX 100%.
Yes, without a doubt.
Where's my list of questions at? Let me see here.
There's two versions of the pass. There's the exhibit pass, and then there's the key pass.
Yeah, so one is just for the exhibits and one is for both the sessions and the exhibits. And I think the key pass, which is for both, gets you into the official parties too. I think if you just have the exhibits, I don't think you can go to the parties, the official parties.
Yeah, I think you need the key pass to go into the keynotes and the parties, the sponsored parties. There's others. Yeah.
So especially if this is your first year, I definitely recommend getting the key pass. If you're just coming to buy equipment, then of course the exhibit pass is enough for you. But
exhibit pass shouldn't be enough for you.
Yeah, I mean, man, it's so hard to stay away from the networking part. But Jeff was just on a few weeks ago, Jeff Libby, and last PBX, I was talking to him, and he mentioned that his crew doesn't even get PBX tickets anymore because they're past they don't get a lot of value from the sessions anymore, and all the benefit from them is just being there and networking and meeting people and that sort of thing. So, I mean, depending on your stage in your business, is good for different people. Different spots are good for different people. So I'd say the exhibits. I mean, every now and again there's an exhibit that pops in that's really good for seasoned boothers, but I'd say the majority of them are aimed at like 3 years and under boothers, if I had to guess.
Yeah.
Another question I see all the time: where should I stay? Like I just mentioned, I personally am local and I still stay at the South Point, just because like there's been so many times where I would think the day's over and then I'll see a message of someone wanting to get drinks or something, or someone wanting to meet for lunch. And, I like to be on property and be able to be like, yeah, I'll be down out of my room in 5 minutes or, whatever.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I like being there. It is kind of detached from the strip. So if you want to do a lot of strip stuff, even still, I'd say just Uber over to the strip.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree.
I know a lot of people do stay on the strip though, and then just Uber over to the South Point, but I like staying at the South Point where all the action is. The biggest complaints is smoke, and it's valid. It is a pretty smoky casino. The rooms are pretty nice though. I mean, as far as the price and value and stuff, I like the South Point. What about you?
Book
you stay
your
at the
rooms
South Point,
early.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So I've approached it from the different routes. So I've done it like where we've stayed at the strip. I've done it where there is a timeshare that's like right in the parking lot of South Point, and you literally walk across the parking lot and get into and I have stayed at South Point, and my preference is to stay at South Point, and the reason being is because you do not anticipate this, but you could possibly be up every single night until 5 o'clock in the morning. So just walking across the parking lot may not seem like a big deal, except when you're in the middle of like being out and networking, and you've had a couple of drinks or whatever. Walking across the parking lot will seem very daunting to you, and then grabbing
Assembling to your room is always better.
But also taking a lift all the way back to the strip is convenient during the day, but when you're networking at night, it's really out of the way, because the one thing is you can always plan your day it's easier to lift onto the strip during the day than vice versa. So I like to stay at the South Point. I didn't really like the rooms initially, but they're getting better. They've done some upgrades and stuff. They're getting better.
Yeah, and on the note of that timeshare, last year none of it's confirmed, but I heard some rumors that there was some people that because the timeshare owners, I guess, just use Airbnb to rent out their rooms, but they're not allowed to. So I heard that there were some people that got canceled on last minute, and they had to split rooms with other people and figure things out last minute. So may want to tread carefully on that timeshare.
Yeah, South Point room blocks are so affordable though. Like you
especially if you
can't
get the
just
group through the PBX group special.
yeah, do it through PBX. It's so affordable. And the nice thing is like even if you're kind of on the fence, guys, if you're gonna go or not because of work or whatever, like book the room and you guys can still cancel. I think like up till like the week
Hmm.
or like 36 hours before, something like that. Like I've had that happen before too. So it's not the commitment that you think it is. Just book ahead of time so you can say, otherwise you're gonna be paying like 200 or 300% the rate when you book last minute
Yeah,
would be my
yeah,
advice.
it's a
Yeah.
good point. And last year I did book a room for my staff last minute, and it was really expensive. So this year I got a room for them right away. They don't actually stay there. I just get them a room. So if they want to go up and pull out a laptop and get some work done, or if they want to take a nap or something like that, because they are around at the parties and drinking and whatnot. So it just gives them a spot to like step away from everything and
Yeah. And your staff is everywhere
relax.
too. I see them in all the photos too.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just looking at the PBX website, and I'm like, oh, there's Jill. Oh, there's Shannon. Oh, there's like they're all over it, all those.
Yeah, this last year I tapped out so early, but I could see like your team and my team, they were everywhere. I was like, man,
Your team was
they're
fun. I
doing
don't think
all
I've
the
ever met any of them before, but I had some late nights with them.
Yeah, I was like, oh yeah, they're all besties now.
Let's see. So we kind of covered the pros and cons of South Point, why people complain about it. Internet and smoke is pretty much all I hear. Like being in Vegas, I am all over the strip for different trade shows, and I hear people talk about the different properties that they stay at. Like if you have a trade show at the Venetian or wherever, and I could tell you that South Point, it is just so much easier to like live at South Point for a few days. Like the food options, you could just run down to the deli. There's like a hot dog stand, the cafe. There's just the steak and shake. There's a lot of affordable options. There's bowling rink, a movie theater, swimming pools, spa. So there's a lot to do. Where a lot of the other casinos, like if you want to go get something to eat, you're going to be at like what's that? You're going to be at fancy places where it's going to be like $80 a plate. Whereas at the South Point, you could go grab something for $15, and
Yeah. The
they do
sushi
have
spot's not bad either.
what is?
The sushi spot, it's not
Oh yeah,
bad.
yeah.
The
All the
oyster
restaurants
spot is
there
pretty
are
good.
good. Yeah, I like all the
Yeah.
restaurants there. They have a Mexican restaurant, sushi. What else? They have an
Oyster
Italian
bar.
restaurant, oyster bar. So there's like for staying somewhere for a few days. Like to me, food is one of the biggest things because that'll be such a huge expense if you're staying on the strip. Just eating every day
Yeah.
is going to be very expensive.
Yeah.
That's one of the pros there. So strip properties, we kind of covered that. How much money should I bring? I mean, I see that question, but like, what are you coming for? Like, are you coming to buy equipment? Because then you should bring a lot more money. I mean, you'll have your cards and stuff, I guess, so you don't need to bring it. But I mean, typically you have to eat.
Perhaps you get better pricing though, right? Like sometimes I don't know.
Yeah, so there
I
are
don't
show
really know much.
specials, or not show specials, but there are like floor models that people sell afterwards. But typically you need to be prepared to walk away with it, so if it's something you can fly with or whatever, like they won't ship it to you.
Yeah.
So, and they generally will only take cash for that sort of thing also. So there's that. But typically, I mean, you have food. If you plan on catching any shows, you'll need money for shows, and shows aren't cheap in Vegas. There are some really good cheap shows, but if you want to go to like Cirque shows and stuff like that, you're going to be spending at least $100 per ticket, I think. Drinks, it's Vegas. There's some cheap bars, but we're generally not cheap on drinks. Like plan to
Or
spend money on
gamble. They'll
drinks.
bring you drinks if you gamble. You could do that too.
Yeah,
If
and
you send
apparently a lot of people don't know that like people know that's a thing at slot machines, but not at other bars. Like any bar in Vegas, even if it's like a corner bar, wherever you're at, if you're drinking, I'm sorry, if you're gambling, then you're drinking for free. So
Yeah.
always have your drinks for free if you have money in the machines.
Yeah.
And then Ubers, getting around. I mean, it could be very, very cost-effective trip for you, or it could be insanely expensive. So, like,
But you know what's great though, Jason? I love boothers because my first PBX, I was very apprehensive and I figured out that everybody is so friendly. I remember I was standing down at the bottom where the entrance was, and there's other people grabbing Ubers and Lyfts. And I was standing there waiting for my friend at the time, and they're like, "Hey, are you with PBX? You want to jump in with us? Okay."
Yeah.
So
And that's
you
fun.
don't.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, like never met any of them, and now we're all friends now. 8 years down the line. So boothers are super friendly. Like if you meet people, I mean, like catch an Uber with, I mean, technically we're strangers, but we all become pretty great friends after PBX,
Yeah,
So
and most
yeah.
people are just exploring Vegas together as well. So if you just want to get down to Fremont Street or East Fremont, or you just want to check
Just ask
Vegas out,
somebody.
yeah, just jump,
Yeah.
see who else
Just
is
ask
going.
somebody.
Just
Walk
post
up.
to a
Yeah.
group, and people will want to go
Or
too.
if you just see somebody, walk over and be like, "Hey, introduce yourself." Like, guys, you don't have to be shy, because I can tell you, boothers are all really fun. I have not met anybody where I walked up and was like, "Hey, do you want?" And they, I've not met any boothers that haven't been down for, doing something. Or even if they're not down for whatever you're thinking, they might already have plans and they'll invite you. Just walk over, introduce yourself. The more you don't have to feel pressure about it, because everybody wants to meet you too. Everybody wants to meet each other at PBX, which I love.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anyone in particular that I met last PBX. But the one before is when I met Monica, and we didn't know each other at all. We had never met, and I was just talking to Georgia, and she just came up and she's like, "Hey, we're going to the strip. You want to come with us?" And I was like, "Yeah, I guess so."
Yeah.
And then we ended up going on a cruise together with a bunch of other people.
I know.
And everyone from that night that went to the strip together, we were all part of the cruise that went. So it's just.
I didn't join you at that ship, but I'm glad that I was part of that cruise, because that was awesome.
Well, it was a pretty small group that went down. It was me and George and Monica. Who else was there? There's only like 6 of us or 7 of us that went down there.
Yeah.
But all of us ended up
all
being on that
participating in the
cruise.
cruise.
So.
Yeah, that was great too. That was a great experience. But don't be
So
shy, you guys. Like, if you don't know anybody, you kind of know somebody, or you kind of like know somebody that you follow and you want to meet in person, reach out to them, message them like the week before, message them while you're there. Like, don't be shy. You'd be surprised like how open everybody is to like meeting you. The only constraint is time and all the activities. That's the only constraint. So if someone doesn't meet up with you, it just probably because there's just so much to do and so many things like pulling, just like you're saying, like being pulled left and right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but don't be shy.
So weather-wise, I see that question also. What's the weather like? It's February in Vegas, so we can have some chilly nights. But I think like a hoodie is probably plenty, just to be prepared.
No, Jason.
No, you think it's colder than a hoodie?
So I'm not used to cold weather. It doesn't get cold like that over here. So the last few PBX, I bring a really thin sweater or jacket, and I have been freezing cold. So women run colder. So bring like a thin jacket for the day when it might be a little bit warmer, but at night it's chilly.
Okay.
Guys, you guys run warmer,
Bring
so
a coat.
I'm sure it's different. You guys like t-shirt weather. It's like t-shirt weather for you guys.
Yeah. I mean, last year I hosted a mixer at my office, and we opened the bay door and we all hung out outside. It was really nice.
I bet you all the guys thought it was nice. I bet you the girls were freaking cold.
I'll have to pull up my videos, see if my rig cam keeps them
all
that
the women
long.
Have jackets on. All the women have jackets on. Watch.
Maybe. That was a fun night too that you didn't come to.
I know. I heard about it. You guys had like really cool experiences. You guys were showcasing like the AI when it was still really new, and I loved how you guys incorporated your branding into it. Everybody had really positive feedback about it.
Oh, thank you. We weren't really showcasing. Like, I would never showcase to a group of photo booth people and be
you don't
judged.
Have to, but that's
just, you can't have a mixer as a photo booth company and not have some kind of photo booth. So yeah, that's the only thing we did. Like anyone that knows us knows that we have like the red bowler and stuff like that. So we just had AI set up that essentially put everyone in red bowlers and things. So it was fun. And people liked it.
Jason, isn't it funny how we all do this for a living, and yet when a photo booth is there, we all act like we haven't seen a photo booth.
And you'll see that on the floor at the parties too. Like everyone just kind of like poking at the screen of the booth, like, how does this thing work?
Hilarious to me.
It's incredible.
Especially like at the after parties when they have like those selfie booths on each corner of the dance floor. It cracks me up. Like we all talk about quality, but then they only put up iPad booths, and we all eat it up.
Yeah, and that should really be
We
a
all fight
testament
for them.
to like we're always we know that we care about the quality, and we know that the
Yes.
client typically doesn't, but instantly when we become the client, we don't care about the quality anymore. It's just
I know,
yeah.
because every year at PBX, those iPad booths at the DJ parties, or they're not DJ parties, but they're a lot of them are sponsored by DJs. But you know, like the after parties, like we all post the heck out of all of those
Mhm.
selfie booth photos and gifs and stuff, and we all eat it up. It's hilarious to me, and
Yeah.
it's like year after year, it's the same thing year after year.
Yeah, they really should shake that up some. Do something a little different, because it is
But we all still love
the
it
same.
though, as
I
basic
agree,
as it is.
but I'd
We
like
all
to
still
see
love
something
it.
different. Especially, yeah, I'd like to see something different. But let's see. When should I arrive and when should I leave? So, PBX starts on a Monday, right? Typically. So I always get my room the Friday night before PBX, and nothing's really going on that Friday night. But Saturday morning, a lot of people start arriving. So during the afternoon, I'll just be kind of hanging out at the South Point, and I'll have lunch with whoever shows up, and just kind of hang out with whoever's showing up. But Saturday, a lot of people come in. I would, like, if you've got the time and the money and you don't have events, like I would come in on that Friday and just kind of like get some alone time, like check out Vegas, kind of map it out, see what you want to see, do some exploring. Maybe if you like hiking,
So
go
much to
get
see.
outside of town. But yeah, I'd come in Friday. If not, then like I said, a lot of people come in Saturday afternoon. So I would definitely recommend at the latest come in like Saturday morning or afternoon, because a lot of things are already happening that Saturday night, a lot of get-togethers, and Sunday as well, and then of course Monday it starts. As far as leaving, I feel like most people leave not even the last day. Like I feel like a lot of people leave the day before, because the last day doesn't have any sessions; it just has the exhibit hall. And I think
a lot of vendors mark down price is crazy that last day.
yeah, and it's kind of like you were talking about PBX London. Like if you go to the exhibit hall on the last day, it's pretty empty, and you could talk to exhibitors all you want, but they are kind of, it's not like London in the respect that they're pretty burnt out. Like they've talked to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people over the last couple of days. So, I mean, I don't want to say they don't want to talk to you, but they are kind of burnt out. They've given their spiel and talked about their product for 3 or 4 days, and but you can get some one-on-one time with them pretty easily on the last day.
It's less crowded the last day. That's when I usually hit the floor.
So
but
I think
I self-guide myself.
I guess I should look at the website to make sure, but I think last day is like a Thursday, right?
Usually Wednesday or Thursday, yeah.
So February 17th through...
I come in every year on Monday, but that's not by choice. It's just, I have kids and time constraints. So I've always come in on Monday, and I always kick myself because everything is happening on Sundays. Like people are doing, they're out partying. There's awards. I think there was like an award ceremony this last year too.
Yeah, typically on Sunday night is an award ceremony, but that's not part of PBX. That's part of Photo Booth Marketing, but it is open to everybody. So you can definitely come in and hang out and meet people there.
But there's like a lot going on that I always miss out on, and I always kick myself. I just wish I could come on Sundays. I feel like if you can't come Friday or Saturday, definitely be there on Sunday, because most people are already starting, to like meet people, go out, and there's a lot of happenings on Sunday, and I always miss out. I don't have that luxury to be able to come in on Sunday, even though I can just drive in. I just, I have my kids and stuff, but I always kick myself every year.
And if it's harder for you to meet people, it's, in my experience, like, because I'm not good at meeting people. And the first year...
Hey, Jason!
Well, I know everybody because I've been doing this for 11 years. It's been a very slow process. But, like, I felt like the first year I didn't go until the first day because, like I mentioned, I was just going to sessions and stuff. And I felt like all the, like, groups already formed. So I felt like, you really need to come on like Saturday or Sunday in that early stages. I mean, I'm sure that's not true. That's just kind of what I had built in my head, because all the, everyone's coming in, they're meeting, they're hanging out, and they had kind of formed their groups. And this was the first year though too. So when I got there on Monday, I felt like those kind of groups were kind of already made. If that
like
makes
clicks?
sense.
Are you talking about like clicks?
No, not clicks. Just like people would meet 2 or 3 boothers and then they would kind of spend the entire weekend together, and it was kind of uncomfortable for me as someone that's not outgoing to go into a group of people instead of just meeting, somebody on
1 or 2 people.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Stop overthinking it.
Yeah.
Just walk over and say hi. Like, don't even think
that's
about
the
it.
key. That's the key. But yeah, so it does start on Monday, ends on Thursday, the 20th of February. So Thursday, we'll look at the exhibits in a second to make sure, or not the exhibits, but the sessions. But I'm almost positive there's no sessions on the last day. It's just the exhibit hall.
Yeah.
And most people leave on Wednesday. So I don't think there's any value to staying late unless you want some time to Vegas with just, without the show and stuff, because most people are gone.
Catching up with people that you weren't able to see during the show
Yeah,
itself.
I mean, if they're there still. But
yeah. There's usually a lot of people there when I'm leaving. I usually leave the day it ends, like the afternoon ends, and I get to like meet and talk with people that I didn't have the opportunity to.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, I'm typically like, I'm not going to be here on Thursday because it's kind of dead, and then every Thursday I'm there because some kind of plans happen or something. But let's see. Let me get back to the questions. I switched over to the PBX website for a second and lost my spot. All right. So weather. When should I arrive? Is there a dress code? I see that a lot too, which is weird because I go to lots of trade shows and I've never really seen one with a dress code. But no, come as you are. Like a lot of people wear their branded clothes. A lot of people don't. Yeah, just wear comfortable shoes and a jacket if you're a girl or someone that gets cold easily.
Yeah, there's no dress code, you guys. Like, just be yourself and be comfortable. I mean, like, I would definitely bring, I would at least bring like something dressy, because I know there's occasions that you might have, you might want to hit like a club, or you might want to hit like a bar. Just having something a little bit more dressy might be helpful. I don't think it's necessary, but I always try to at least pack like 2 or 3, something that's dressy, and then just casual wear all the other times. But there's no, you don't have to be like business casual or anything like that. I appreciate the ones that do wear their branded shirts, because that just makes you, stand out and a little bit more memorable. At least people will remember your brand.
Mm-hmm.
I should do that, but I don't know why I don't do that. I'm gonna do that this year.
Yeah, everyone gave me shit for not wearing my bowler, and one year I went to the after party and brought the bowler hat, but I don't know that I'll do that again because then I had to carry it around all night. But we don't typically wear our branded shirts either.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do, I guess.
I mean,
but
I'm more into like fashion, so I wear stuff that's a little bit more trendy. I should probably tone that down.
No.
I should probably
Now, we
tone
like the
that
fashion,
down, but I don't care.
And if you're younger than me or cooler than me, and you're going to clubs, you like clubs do have dress codes. Like they won't let you come in, and like if you're a guy, you can't come in shorts or tennis shoes or
like
whatever.
Dress shoes, like dress shoes, and so at least pack one kind of dressy outfit just in case. Like you may not anticipate doing anything like that, but so much opportunity comes up while you're at PBX. You get invited to do things and participate in things, so you should just plan for that, just so you're prepared.
Yeah, and I'm actually going to go back and agree with you really quickly about the weather, because I'm remembering now waiting for an Uber once in front of South Point, and I remember that they had heaters out there and people like crowding around them, so it must have been cold. So I admit my
it's cold. It's cold, but it can also be hot because Vegas is more desert. So I think there has been I think there's been years that I've been there where it was like hot, like 3:00 in the morning, and it's, hot, dry heat. So I remember that too. So it just depends. Like, check the weather before you go. Pack for hot weather. Pack for cold weather.
Can I purchase equipment straight from the showroom floor? Most of the time, no. Like, I don't know. I assume there's multiple reasons. I think one thing is that I think a lot of people don't want to bring 50 booths with them. Another thing is, if you sell stuff in Vegas, you got to pay Vegas sales taxes and stuff, and it's much easier for them to just say, here's a QR, go to our website, and it'll ship out. Some manufacturers based on what sells. You can buy some things like props, but there's not very many people that are selling booths on the floor.
If you are looking to buy a booth, make sure you hit that manufacturer right away first day, because those booths sell out. Like, they're the ones that do carry some stock. Like I know Min booth this past PBX, they had like, I don't know, they had like 5 or 6, and
I got
they,
one.
yeah, welcome to the club.
Yep.
So yeah, like if you have your eye on a specific booth and you know that manufacturer is going to have limited stock, like you should hit them the first day, because the longer you wait and stall, the more likely you're not going to be able to grab that booth with you.
Yeah, and a lot of people feel like when manufacturers say things like that it's a sales tactic, because oftentimes it is, but
Yeah.
not a PBX. All their shit's gonna sell.
Yeah, because they actually have to pay they have to pay those guys, the porters or whatever, to like carry it in by pound. So it costs them money to bring booths in. So yeah, they do sell. They bring limited quantity, but what they do bring, they sell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is any food provided? So I go to tons of trade shows here, and a lot of shows do provide food, and it always makes me like envious that of these shows, because PBX does not, unfortunately. Like I've been to so many shows where they just roll out tables of food and exhibitors and
How much are
guests
these
just get to
tickets
eat.
though? How much are these tickets?
Yeah, I have no idea. I'm sure they're way more expensive. I agree. I just wish there was food. There is oftentimes like a breakfast. I've never done it. There's like a breakfast with something like, I think there's like a morning speaker, and there's like bagels and donuts and stuff and coffee, but I've never done.
I'm not a morning
that,
person, so
I'm
I'm never.
not sure, but no, there's no food. Again, South Point, though, we already mentioned it. They've got a cafe a lot of people go to. There's a deli that's got really reasonable pricing. If there's any kind of game on at the sports book, there's a little hot dog stand that sells really great hot dogs. And like first PBX, they were like 75 cents. I think they're like $2 now. They're super cheap. So there's very cheap options if you want to just go down and grab like a hot dog. Steak and Shake. If you walk into Steak and Shake with your badge and just look around, like don't wait in line. Someone has room at their table. Just go jump in at a table.
Make some friends. Yeah. People will pull up a chair for you. Don't worry about it. Yeah.
And if you are staying at one of those, like an Airbnb or one of those timeshares, obviously those places have kitchens, and you can bring some snacks and sandwiches and stuff. So
if you have a pool at your timeshare, let me and Jason know.
Yes, especially if there's like a cabana. I dig cabanas. Let's see. How can I make sure to get the most value? I mean, this really is going to be covered mostly in our networking episode, because that is where the most value is. Like, I don't want to discount the sessions and things, but again, like, I have gotten so much more from the friends that I've met and the late night drinks about softwares and what other people are doing and whatnot. And that's the most practical solutions, is hearing what other people are doing, and not so much what a software can do for you if that's not something that you need or whatnot. If that makes sense. So.
And then the opportunities that come from it. I mean, look at me and Jason. We started this podcast because of a late night session out. Yeah.
So that's my entire list of questions. Unless you can think of anything. Like, I was just trying to think of, I should have like done a search on Facebook to see questions that were coming up last year, because there's always a lot of questions, but we have a few more episodes. So if any other come up, we'll hit them, but let's jump into sessions. We've kind of talked a bit about sessions. I feel like most of them are aimed at the younger boother, but there are some evergreen things like Alan and Catalina. I feel like the content they provide is just as valuable to a 10-year boother as it is to a 6-month boother. They're really, both of them in particular, are really, really good at making their conversation relevant to everybody. But those are just a couple. So
I think Ursula and Steve Blessner are really great to listen to in on as well. Not so much that it, like, I feel like a lot of the speakers that are really great, it's stuff that you already know, but sometimes you need to hear it from someone in a certain way for it to connect with you. So there's some things that you might like. we've been doing this for a long time, but I'll sit in on one of their talks and I'm like, okay, that just the way that they worded that just makes it click a little bit better. So, be open to participating in the keynotes, because you never know what nuggets that you might be able to pull from their keynote, their session.
Yeah, and I made a short list of people that I saw listed this year that I've been going to PBX for years. This is the 10th year. I'm sure Rob will hit on that next week, or he did hit on that last week for listeners, I guess. But there's a list of people who, if they're speaking, I'm going, and I'm going to be in the front row every single time, because they just always leave powerful information. And that's Catalina, Alan, Steve, Ursula. Well, that's all I've got on my list. And that's, again, not to discount anyone else that's speaking. I just am not familiar with them. They may be amazing, but Catalina, always fantastic, relevant stuff. Alan, he's got I don't know how many speeches he has, but I've seen most of them a couple times, and they are still so powerful every single time. Anyone that listened to the episode with him a few months ago, knows that he is just a wealth of information. Steve,
such an awesome human being too.
He is.
Yeah.
Steve as well. Like I mentioned, I've never met him, but I never miss his speaking engagements. He's well spoken, and he always has just unique perspectives on things that most speakers. He's very different from other speakers. He seems to be more you and me, more level-headed. I guess not level-headed, but you have the people that are like the Allens that just seem so big that they're speaking to you, and Steve is the kind of speaker that you kind of feel more like he's speaking with you. Like he seems more down to earth, I guess. Not to say that Alan's not, but that's the impression that I tend to get. And then Ursula, she's also a wealth of information and fun to listen to.
Yeah.
I don't know why Sammy doesn't talk, because he's fun to listen to also, but maybe he wouldn't get through
Hello, Sammy.
But let me pull up the sessions real quick and see if there's anything else that jumps out. Agenda. And I think it's just, I guess I should share their website. Photoboothexpo.com is where you can go learn about the agenda and find the room rates and stuff. So first on the block is Catalina. I don't know if these are in order by date or name or whatnot, but we've got Alan and Steve. Arif, I've never listened to him, but that's Google AdWords. Yeah, a lot of people I haven't listened to before. Bill Varenkamp, I hope I said his last name correctly. Yeah, he always does like a what could go wrong troubleshooting, and that is like I always send my event crew to, like my tech support group to that. Just pick up on anything. If you're newer, definitely pop into that. He'll just go through a lot of troubleshooting issues that may come up, and some things that you should have on hand, and tools to get through those.
He teaches on photography too, right?
Yeah, he also does one about lighting typically. I don't know if I see that one here.
If you guys, if you don't know anything about photography, definitely listen in there. He's a wealth of knowledge for that.
Looks like Wally's doing one on darkrooms specifically. I didn't know they were doing any specific issues. So those are some of the people to absolutely not miss. You'll get your show guide when you check in, and you could go through and read what everyone's going to talk about, and you could kind of plan your schedule around that. But some of the topics, the topics change from year to year, and some stay the same year to year, but it's going to be everything from SEO, marketing, trademark, social media, troubleshooting, legal structuring, CRM. So like everything in the industry that you want to know about, or that you didn't know that you wanted to know about. So
yeah,
a lot of good stuff. And if you want good seats, get there early. The rooms do fill up pretty quickly. A lot of times, if it's someone that I want to sit in the front for, like Alan, I'll show up the last 15 minutes of the session before him, so that I can get up there right as soon as that one leads out, because they fill up quick, especially if it's a good speaker. I think Alan typically does like outside of PBX like sessions as well. Like he typically has some kind of
Yeah,
like I had Shannon go last year.
one-on-one, private one-on-one.
It wasn't one-on-one, it was
He
like
has
a
like
group,
private
but
one-on-one sessions.
it was small like 6 or 7
Oh,
people.
oh, oh,
But
okay.
she said it was really, really good. So I haven't went to it personally, but something to look into.
Yeah.
What else can we say about sessions? I mean, the sessions are sessions. They're pretty cut and dry. Go to the ones you think
Yeah,
that
I
you
mean,
need.
yes. Look over the schedule, go the ones that you think will be of value to you. Try not to miss it, because I know sometimes it's hard because you're like distracted on the sales floor. So try to set like your alarm, because that's something that I struggle with. But I mean, the more you participate while you're at PBX with anything and everything, the more value you're going to get from it. If you are just camping out and just not talking to anybody, you're not attending anything, you're not participating, you're not going to get the full value of PBX. That would be my one thing that I would have to share. I know I've talked to new owners, and I've talked to some who have been there, have been owners for, 6, 7, 8 years that have never gone to PBX. And, when I ask them, like, why have you not gone? A lot of it is just like they don't see the point because they think that what they're doing is working for them, like their business is doing well. But if you attend PBX, you have the ability to catapult your business. So if your business is doing well, if you attend PBX, you have the ability to grow that exponentially, just because of the context, because of the knowledge that you gain. I don't even know how to put into words, because it's so many factors that help grow your business just being there where you should be. So even if you've been in the industry for 8 years and you've never gone to PBX, you really should reconsider it, because you will be surprised how big of a deal it actually is. I
Yeah,
know I'm not
there's
working that very well.
a reason that so many of the industry leaders and successful people and people that are just not leaders, just people that have been around for 6 or 7 years, still go every year. I mean, there's a reason for this. There's just so much to experience and so much to benefit from.
Yeah.
Exhibits. I want to talk a little bit about exhibits before we wrap up. So let's see. What can I expect? Products hands-on. Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably the sorry, I was just reading there, but that's probably one of the biggest benefits of the exhibits is getting hands-on. I mean, you could look at booths all day long, but seeing one, getting to kind of break it down or open it up and move things around and actually see how it sets up and how it looks and how big the case is and how heavy the case is, all those things, hands-on is just priceless. I mean, it's really great to be
Yeah.
there and touch things.
Yeah, I agree. And see like the back end, to see like the back of the shell, to open it up, to see the size. I think we talked about that when we were talking about mirror booths. Like when you see a
Yeah,
mirror booth
definitely.
online, you think, when they first came to market, is like, oh wow, these mirror booths are awesome. But when you actually see a mirror booth in real life, then you can really gauge like, okay, what do you actually need to make this photo booth happen for your company? So seeing like the sizing of the booths on site, makes a big difference. Sometimes things online look very basic, and then when you see it in person, you're like, wow, that actually is really clean. So you see, seeing things in real life just changes your perspective and understanding of like why things cost what they do. And you see like the manufacturing and stuff like that.
Yeah, and one of the things that I could think of that really stuck out to me is I think they're called Party Cam. It's like a vintage looking roamer, and those always kind of seemed hokey to me online when I saw photos. But when I saw them, they pulled me right, and I had to go look at them. They're really, really beautiful. They are all handcrafted, and just in person they're gorgeous. And in
Yeah,
photograph they are too. I just never stopped to really investigate the photo as I did the product, and we just ordered some of those actually for an event coming up, and I'm anxious to put those into rotation. But
nice.
yeah, really awesome. So getting there and getting hands on, and I'm glad you mentioned the mirrors, because that's so true. Like they don't try to be deceptive, because they'll have photos on their website with like little silhouettes of people, but it's until you become that silhouette that you realize like some of those
Yeah,
mirrors are massive. And
yeah.
just not logistical for if you're driving a little Civic or something.
It's the same thing with like 360s. Like I know when I first came on board with Orca, a lot of other owners were like, okay, why is this was back when it first came to market, and they're so affordable now, but back then they were, substantial costs. And, it was hard for people to understand, like when you say an Orca is built better, that doesn't mean anything to you until you're actually on site and you actually are able to like see and feel what an Orca 360 feels like and how smooth the arm is. I'm not trying to be a commercial for Orca. I'm just saying that sometimes you see online these 360s, they all look alike. They do. Online, they might be painted a different color, but online they look the same. But when you see them in person, you can actually see like the manufacturer build quality. You can see like why one costs substantially more than another one,
Yeah, and I'll be a commercial for Orca.
I love them.
Yeah, they're certainly not paying us anything but
Yeah.
to advertise for them. But from our own experiences, I certainly
but we're open
Orcas,
if they want to call us.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Call us if you. But yeah, so, things like that where, unless you have an Orca in your possession, you wouldn't know why it was such a substantial cost increase over, a lot of the other like China built 360s on the market. When you see it in person, then it makes sense. Then it clicks,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I actually just purchased their overhead 360 last week.
I can't wait to see that output.
Yeah, it's funny because I had purchased an overhead years ago from someone else, and I could never book it. Well, no one ever even wanted it. So the only time I ever used it was for my own showcase. So I built the dance pole with the overhead 360, and that was really awesome, and everyone loved it, and I got some really, really cool output from it. But it still never booked. So I sold it last year at PBX, and that person, I wish I had his name right now. I totally put him on blast. But he filed a dispute through eBay and got his money back and kept the product. And he said that I didn't send the cords, and I was like, okay, well, I'll send the cords. And he said, no, I just want to send it back, give my money back. And I was like, okay, that's fine too. So I approved it. And for whatever reason, eBay just sent the money back, and he never shipped it back. And I tried to file disputes with eBay, and he just kept it. So, chump. But anyways, here I am buying another one because someone called up and said, hey, we've got this job, and it's a big job with lots of different. It's actually the same thing that I bought the retro party cam roamers for. So I had to buy a lot of equipment for that job. So hopefully I can book it afterwards.
It's funny. I was just on a call. With somebody about something like that. Like they had bought a glam bot, and for 6 months nobody booked it, and so they sold it off. And after they sold it off, then they had, then they had bookings, so they had to rebuy it. So I don't know. I'm one of those. I'm in the camp of like buy it, hold on to it. It might take a while, but you'll eventually book it.
Yeah.
I usually don't sell off things because I know eventually. Like Mosaic took me a while to secure an event, and then now it's paid for itself. And yeah. Mm-hmm. So sometimes it's especially like niche services like that, like you gotta have some patience to like hold on and wait for that ROI sometimes, like that's one of the things, because it's so niche, especially like a glam bot,
Yeah.
But,
so let's see. So products, obviously softwares. If you want to talk to the people that own Boothbook or Check Cherry, or what other softwares are there out there?
Breeze, I guess Darkroom,
yes.
PBU,
Booth software,
Snappic. Yeah.
But they're all on site. Like I love talking to the Snappic guys because I know Snappic pretty well, but I'll just use the booth at their space and be like, hey, I've never seen that before. How did you do that? So it's just really great to know the people behind the product sometimes. It just gives you more appreciation.
But they're always so slammed over there, though. Mm-hmm. They always have a lot of people over there.
Yeah, it's a popular booth.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Spot My Photos too. This past year, Spot My Photos was crowded. You couldn't even get into that floor. They had a lot of salespeople too.
Yeah, I wanted to go talk to him and hear his pitch because so many of my peers are using it, and I still don't. But
I'm pretty well versed about spot my photos.
yeah,
I was
I'm not
helping.
on
I was
board yet.
helping
It's
at
not for me.
London.
So I don't know if this story's ever been told on the podcast or not, but when iPad photo booths came out, I was very reluctant to jump on board because, especially at the time, the photo quality was really, really poor. And like most photo boothers that have been around for a while, we were kind of
Nah,
set
yeah.
on the DSLR, the quality,
Yeah.
and we're stubborn and don't want to change our ways. But the reason I got into iPad photo booths is because PBX. There's a lot of different vendors or booth sellers or whatever that do giveaways and contests. So instead of selling the floor models, I think they sell them now. I'm not sure, but Moby Booth that year they raffled off their floor models. So I won one of Moby Booth's Auroras, if I'm saying that right. I just went all in on an iPad booth. They're fantastic, and
Yeah.
I owe that all to winning an Aurora from Moby Booth that year. So keep your
cool.
eyes peeled for a lot of different. I think DMP typically gives a printer away.
Yeah.
I feel like
Curator has raffled away their annual membership as well. I think SnapPic has done that too. But you have to be there during the drawing. Otherwise, they call your name, and if you're not present, forget about it.
In fact, I was like the fourth name called for the photo booth that I won.
That's
also.
wild.
So I'm so glad those people weren't there. But I like the be present to win, because a lot of times it's just like hey, put your name in this bucket and there'll be a winner a week after the trade show. And I'm like, is there going to be a winner, or are you just building a sales list? Which I get, you have to build a sales list, but I feel like most of those people just lie and they don't actually give things away. So I like
PBX, they do.
Yeah, they do it on the floor. Yeah. They pull a name. You'll see a huge crowd of people. If you see a massive crowd on the showroom floor, they're probably giving something away. Like, get in there and see if you can get your name in still. Because there's a lot of really good stuff.
It's business cards that they take, right? It's business cards. So bring your business cards. Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah, I never remember mine either, but they usually use business cards to draw the names.
Yeah.
Moby Booth is a lot more high tech than that. They have you put your name in on an iPad and enter, and then he uses like an automated pull system app. Yeah. So, yeah. Giveaways. Participate. Lots of free stuff.
Participate in everything you can while you're there. Everything. If someone invites you somewhere, you should be a yes man. Like, yes man, let's go.
Yeah.
Take full advantage. Like, you should not be thinking about if someone's inviting you somewhere, just get in the car and go.
Yeah, I mean, worst case is like worst thing is you get in the car and you're like, oh man, this person I have nothing in common with, and photo booths aren't enough. Just you'll find someone else on the strip.
Someone else.
And if you don't, just Uber back. It's a $20 Uber. Like there's not a whole lot of risk and a lot of award.
Yeah.
So the best time to go to the exhibit hall. Lots of people line up to be there at like ribbon drop or rope drop, whatever they call it, like when the doors open.
You might make it into their pictures. Yeah. But you might make it into their pictures and their video for PBX the year after.
Yeah, I'm not about standing in line to look at stuff though. Like if you're going to be the first one to see it, cool, you do you. But like I usually wait 2 or 3 hours after the showroom opens to go in there, because I just can't. Like people will stand in line for like 3 hours to be the first ones through the door, and I just don't get it. I don't get it.
Well, I usually there's a lot of vendors, you guys. There's a lot of vendors that are always looking for help. So if you like are unsure, if you're there, you don't know anybody, you're kind of nervous about it, like hit up some of the vendors that you use software or hardware. Hit them up and see like, hey, can we help? Volunteer at your booth. There's a lot that are looking, so that
always.
Yeah. So you don't necessarily have to stand in that line if you want to help out at some of the booths.
That's a good way to meet people too.
Yeah. Especially if you're not great with like approaching people and things like that. Like now people are coming to the booth to talk to you. So it's a great way to like, it's a great icebreaker because, we all know each other after.
Yeah. And I did do that 1 year, at least, maybe 2, for Darkroom booth. I helped out in their booth for a day. And I think maybe a Moby booth I did as well. The Darkroom booth, I know that's where I met Paul from Chicago. We were both working in that booth together.
Yeah.
So best time to go. It depends. If you are excited, go wait in that line. If you want to get like some floor models, go the last day. I mean, you'll need to arrange the floor models
You should not be
before,
going the last day, Jason.
but you'll need to go the last
People
day to
have
pick them
dibs
up.
on those floor.
Yeah.
People. Well, yeah. People put dibs on those floor models like day one.
And also, I mean, there's more than just photo booth stuff. Like if you ever want like a big screen TV, go to a trade show on the last day, because it's not cost effective to ship any of these TVs back. There are so many TVs left or given away on the last day of trade shows. But also like displays and things like that. Just everyone doesn't want to ship anything back. So a lot of stuff is up for grabs for really cheap. So best approach, I don't have any systems. I start on one side and walk through row by row and get pulled in different directions as I see different people and hope that I see everything eventually. Do you have any systems to hit the whole floor?
I have zero structure with that.
Yeah.
I just walk on the floor. And actually, I prefer to like, if I run into somebody, I'll like follow them, and it's interesting to hear different people's perspectives on things that they see that I
creep
might
behind somebody.
Why did you say like that? Creep behind somebody.
So just random people, you just like walk 2 feet behind them and just listen to them from booth to booth.
You with them, Jason.
It's weird, but I'm intrigued. I want to do it next time now.
Because we've had this conversation about how I have this thing where sometimes if I'm just standing around, I'll just start talking out of the blue, and whoever's standing next to me will just assume I'm talking to them. So yes, I've done that as well.
Okay, well that's fine. Talking to people is fine.
And it's yeah. So, but most of the time, I mean, like, you know, you run into people you kind of know or you've seen online, and you know, introduce yourself, of course, or at least talk to space, and then they'll assume you're talking to them, and you know, just be like, hey, you know, what would you see that's cool, and you know, you start following them around, and it's interesting to like get into exploring the sales floor with multiple people, because you there's certain things that you might have just breezed right past, and someone else will be like, wow, that's pretty cool. And when you hear their perspective, it's like, oh, okay, wow, I didn't even think, you know, because I know Spot My Photos, when I first saw it, I thought not, because their signage was, I don't remember, it just was, I didn't see the value of it when I initially saw it, like way before COVID, like back in 2019 or something like that, you know. And when I heard someone else's perspective on like how powerful it was, that's when it clicked for me, you know. So it's not like, you don't necessarily want to explore the floor with the same people, and you don't really want to explore it by yourself the whole time. You kind of want to mix, you know. Sometimes you do want to explore it by yourself, so you can come up with your own thoughts and ideas on the things that you see, but it's nice to hear other people's feedback as well.
Yeah, I agree. And I kind of have a story about that. One of the most beneficial things, or not beneficial, but the most unique things I remember from last year. And I walk the floor, and I think a lot of seasoned boothers are the same way. We ignore things that you know, we're not interested in, like printers, for example. Like I am very stuck in my way. I use the MP620As, and I have no reason to switch printers. But my staff was on the floor, and they've never been to PBX before, and they're just excited and going to every single booth. And they came to me, and they're like, "Oh my God, did you see this?" And they showed me this translucent print. And I was like, that is that it blew my mind. It was so gorgeous.
Yeah.
Went over to the booth and checked out this new printer that was hitting the market with translucent prints. And then later that night, I think, did you go to dinner with us across the street? It was
the
like
Men Booth dinner?
Yeah. So it was at the Men Booth dinner.
The one that I hosted?
Oh yeah. Did you go to the dinner you hosted? So there was a whole bunch of boothers there though. And we're asking, like, what did we see on the showroom floor? And I pulled this out, and it was the same thing. Everybody that I talked to just walked past this printer booth because no one cares about printers, but everyone felt the same way. Like, it was everyone asked for samples that I had collected and asked where they could go see it the next day. So I feel like my employee looking at that and showing me probably resulted in like 20 sales for these guys, because I showed everybody that I saw because it was so incredible. And actually, that was the Joy Space, and I just bought it through Imaging Spectrum a few weeks ago, and mine just arrived, and I'm working on a sale for it right now. But it was a really, really cool product that I would have never looked if I didn't have the perspective of a first time attendee.
It's funny about that. I don't know why I have scissors in my hand, but you know what's funny about that is like Min and Billy brought those prints to me, and they're like, "Dude, Lap, check this out," and I was like, "Cool." Cool, that's cool. Like, what would I ever? And then, like, as
They're awesome.
I'm listening to them, yeah, and as I'm listening to them talking, I'm like, okay, now I kind of see like what the cool factor is, right? So I didn't see it initially, but now after like hearing them like speak among themselves, then it clicked for me, and that's what I'm saying. Like, you should try to explore the expo floor by yourself, but also with others. So you have a mix, you know, because you really do breeze past things and you don't realize, and someone else will see it as being really cool, you know. Like, I
Yeah.
know what are those prints that I know they've been a darkroom booth used to do, had delivered them a few PBXs ago, but
The
it's the
lenticulars.
lenticular. Yeah, there was
Yeah.
a provider there that's like a European company, and they were so like, no, everybody walked right past them. They did lenticular, nobody knew. They also had like this really cool small world
Yeah, Small World was
video.
cool.
Yeah, and nobody saw it. And I saw it, I was like, oh my god, this is really cool. And I pulled people over and people got to explore it. So sometimes like people pick up things that you might not pick up, and vice versa, so
Hmm.
try to mingle with different people, and walk the floor with different people, because the perspective is really interesting.
I don't know what was wrong with that company's booth because nobody really, like, every booth was super busy except for that one. Like, no one was ever there. But after, I think you showed me
I was
their
there.
little
Yeah.
lenticular thing, and I went and checked it out, and everything they had there
Yes.
was really neat. I don't know if they just weren't
Yeah.
outgoing, or maybe it's because they were foreign and they had maybe a language
Yeah.
barrier. I don't know, but it
Yeah.
wasn't
All of that.
but it's
All
cool.
of the above. Yeah.
I think we mentioned shoes already. Bring comfortable shoes. I hear people complain about the shoe wear that they chose all the time. Phone chargers, like, bring a battery, man. Like, I see so many people asking for chargers and sitting on the side of the wall with their phones, or saying they have to go up to their room, or asking if someone's staying at the hotel so they could charge their phones. Definitely, like, bring your phone charger and bring like some power banks. Like,
Bring some
yeah,
ibuprofen. If you have like a
yeah.
portable massager, you probably will need that massager, because you're gonna have, most of us don't get a lot of sleep while we're there, so you're gonna start feeling those aches and pains.
Some of those liquid IV or whatever, powder IVs, whatever they are.
Yeah. It sounds like we're joking, you guys. We're not. If you've not
No.
been to PBX, it is, yeah, we're not joking.
So I think that's all I've got as far as general questions, exhibits, and the showroom floor.
Yeah.
So yeah, send us your questions, and we'll do a follow-up Q&A if needed, if there's more questions that we missed. But catch up with us next week, and we'll talk about the subject that we keep going back to: networking and after parties at PBX, and where to go, where not to go, how to maximize your value, the inside tips.
Fun
Not
stuff.
really. We don't have any inside tips, and I don't have any advice
Fun
on where
stuff.
not to go. But talk to y'all next week.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
To keep the conversation going, join our Facebook group, Pro Booth Talk Community. If you enjoyed this podcast, consider showing your support by subscribing, liking, reviewing, or sharing this topic with someone in the industry.